But first, at least 52 people were killed in Israeli airstrikes on Gaza on Monday, including in overnight attacks on a school-turned-shelter. The IDF says they targeted militants which had been operating from the premises. The Israeli army, meanwhile, has also issued new evacuation notices for Khan Yunis. As the military offensive in the enclave gathers pace, international condemnation continues to intensify. Germany has become the latest country to question Israel's goal in Gaza. We can now bring in our correspondent Noga Tarnopolsky standing by in Jerusalem. Noga, we have news coming in that Hamas has agreed to a ceasefire proposal by the United States. What do we know about the proposal and the pressure coming in from Washington?
Well, we don't have full details yet, and in fact, we have a little bit of a contradiction. Reuters, as you said, is reporting that Hamas has agreed to a U.S. Gaza ceasefire plan. I'm reading this because it's from minutes ago, and that this ceasefire plan would include the release of 10 Israeli hostages over a period of 70 days in 2 stages. Now, we understand from the Israeli government and from President Trump that at least 20 or 21 Israeli hostages are still alive. So this is a partial plan at best, and it's a ceasefire that would last 70 days. However, a Hamas official speaking to the Al-Quds television channel issued a somewhat contradictory statement also just in the last few minutes, saying that Hamas has agreed to a U.S. proposal for a permanent ceasefire. That would indicate an end to the war, and we can suppose the release of all of the Israeli hostages, alive and dead. So clearly something is being cooked up in the background right now, but we don't yet fully know.
And also that would also mean an end to the war and Israeli withdrawal of the enclave. Because also, while all of this is going on, we had that the Gaza Humanitarian Fund, a big blow to this organization that was about to get up and running after its head, Jake Wood, resigned, saying the organization could not adhere to the principles of impartiality and neutrality. What do we know about this fund?
Well, here also we have some breaking news, which I will read to you aloud. The leader of the Israeli opposition, Yair Lapid, just suggested in parliament, in the Israeli Knesset, that it is the Israeli government using front companies abroad that is funding this entire aid proposal. And I'm emphasizing this because U.S. Ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, just last week said that it is wholly untrue to say that Israel is behind this initiative for aid distribution. However, now we're hearing from the leader of the Israeli opposition that it appears to be some kind of semi-secret or subversive Israeli effort, and the spokesperson for this, for Yair Lapid, the leader of the Israeli opposition, has gone further and is asking whether Israeli security personnel and Israeli funds were not sent abroad so as to organize this entire procedure, which, if it's the case, I think is at least a borderline legal maneuver on Israel's part. And as you said, this organization, of which we know very little, lost its CEO today. He himself hinting that he was leaving because he realized he could not maintain the humanitarian and independent values that he had vowed to keep.
And Noga, all this is happening on Jerusalem Day. Earlier today, we had Israel's far-right National Security Minister, Itamar Ben-Gvir, who was at Temple Mount with a rabbi as well.
Not just with the rabbi, with several Israeli members of the parliament, with a few more ministers, behaving in blatantly illegal ways, including lying down in front of the mosque of Al-Aqsa, prostrating themselves in prayer. All of this while, of course, Itamar Ben-Gvir is the Minister for National Security, so the minister in charge of police. And as we speak, Delano, there are extremely violent incidents taking place in the old city of Jerusalem around Damascus Gate with basically hooligans and thugs who are pro-government, pro-Netanyahu government, pro-Ben-Gvir, assaulting Palestinians and assaulting Israel police officers. It's an almost out-of-control situation right now and still very much developing.
Noga, thank you very much for the update. Noga Tarnopolsky reporting there for us from Jerusalem.